Hey guys, time for Tech News Day.
Another week, another YouTube scandal that's making many of the site's top creators real mad on the internet. YouTube has removed hundreds of videos from the site, all for just breaking some rule that they never even told creators about in the first place.
What do you mean we can't pander to children in an aggressive and really weird manner?
It's just so dang upsetting, except, hold on. We're actually completely on the side of YouTube this time. Call us shills all you want, but actively promoting academic dishonesty, aka cheating at school, is something you probably don't need to be told is a bad thing that you shouldn't do. Also, this absolutely was already in YouTube's advertiser terms of service, you just didn't read those.
Who's got the time? The mass deletions of videos from popular channels came just days after a BBC News investigation into the fact that over 250 YouTube channels were being paid to promote Udemy, a website based in Ukraine where you pay money for someone else to write your school essays for you. You seem foreign. You know how sometimes, we sometimes get paid to promote stuff like Blue Apron or Dollar Shave Club? It's like that, but for a company that facilitates academic dishonesty. Oh, and also, like most paid promotions on this site, most of these channels, they weren't following any of, or just barely, the FTC guidelines, which would make it clear that these were ads.
Yeah, it was more like, oh hey, also like
I found this cool site.
You gotta check it out.
Yeah, have you guys ever gambled with loot boxes? I don't know. Anyways, I found this on a blog.
The BBC investigation found over 1,400 videos with a total of more than 700 million views featuring edgy-birdy advertisements from channels in both the US and the UK from creators of all ages, including kids as young as 12. Following the BBC investigation, the UK's universities minister said YouTube now had a moral responsibility to do something about this, so they did.
Fine, we'll get fine.
Deleting hundreds of videos containing these advertisements. They were even considerate enough to email these channels beforehand, telling them to use YouTube's editing tools to remove those segments by the end of the week if they wanted those videos to stay up.
Hey, good guy YouTube?
I know!
Hey, there you go. Yeah,
Like,
for once.
Yeah.
For once, they did nothing wrong. But of course, the channels affected by this are crying all over Twitter about how unjust and unethical this all is, which is ironic, because they were actively profiting off of promoting something blatantly unjust and unethical from a foreign state.
Yeah. The Ukraine.
Wow, your English is really broken, but this essay really says everything it needs to say.
So here is how the
Then you're living a lie for the rest of your high school career, acting like you're from there.
Oh, I am Ukrainian.
I'm a foreign exchange student. A fez. Also, just picture in your mind what kind of YouTube channel would accept money in exchange for promoting an essay cheating service. You're correct. It was mostly fake prank garbage that only appeals to children who will believe anything they see on the internet. And god damn it, it wasn't the Paul brothers, but
They don't need that
great?
Ukrainian money.
Yeah.
They get their money here in America.
Their fans don't need to cheat on tests because their fans all know that they're going to grow up to be famous assholes.
Yeah, they don't need school.
Yeah.
Aldo's World TV, a channel featuring a grown man pretending to be just constantly encountering ghosts, he tweeted out, "I don't understand how @YouTube creators would let everyone promote Edgy and now suddenly it's inappropriate." This guy skipped a few essays.
Yeah.
You need to communicate more. Wouldn't have promoted them in the first place if it wasn't okay, but now I have 30 plus videos gone.
This is inappropriate.
I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Another trash channel featuring what many believe to be paid actors to catch a cheater. They tweeted this. YouTube just removed 49 of our videos. One vid/week equals years worth of work. Disappeared overnight. Thanks, EduBirdie, @PhillyD, @Keemstar. Wow, you are pathetic. Also, math, not your strong suit.
This guy probably there's a pattern here.
Yeah. Also, your channel is literally called To Catch a Cheater, and you got caught. It should be the pinnacle of your content creation. You played yourself. Make
What's
a video
up,
about
cheaters? You looking to not get caught?
Yeah.
Here's the shady Eastern European website that'll do your essays for you.
Yeah.
Other affected channels include shitty fake prank channel Twins TV, who tweeted that, quote, YouTube deleted 138 of our videos without any explanation.
Wait, they made 138 videos sponsored by this thing?
Yeah.
They are fucking cranking them out.
I know.
Gee.
As well as there's arguably fake bounty hunter channel Patty Mayo, who urged viewers in multiple videos to, quote, hire the super smart nerds at edubirdie.com to write your essays and your papers for you, but who told the BBC that he does not condone or endorse cheating. Okay.
Also ironic because Patty Mayonnaise in the show Doug, very smart.
Yeah,
Very
she would
smart.
never
Nope.
cheat on a test.
But she would cheat on Doug with Skeeter. That's the stories you don't see on
Yeah.
YouTube. She was cucking with rocket clocks the whole time. Hey, funny, I'm fucking your girlfriend. Anyways.
We were banging on a trash can.
Yeah.
Fucking on a street light.
Her little voice was calling me. It was great. You've never seen it.
Yeah.
None of you have seen that show.
Yeah, so anyway, making this whole dumb debacle even dumber is the fact that apparently EduBirdie's essays aren't even that good.
Shocker! Shocker, Elliot. That was the first reaction I had to this.
So, per the BBC's investigation, quote, the BBC ordered 2 essays through EduBirdie, opting for them to be written from scratch. One was an English literature GCSE coursework essay, the other a first-year degree course assignment. Both were delivered with only the students' names left blank to be filled in. The GCSE essay was given a C, or 5/6, and the university assignment, 60%. Not quite the guaranteed A+ grade promised by EduBirdie.
But
Why would these cheaters lie?
Low enough to not raise any red flags.
That's true, that's true.
That's the thing.
Shit.
If it was a perfect paper, then...
I'm not trying to pass, I'm just trying not to get expelled.
Also, it would actually be in EduBirdie's best interest to do the A essays, like go beyond and go the extra mile, produce A+ essays, because then you have to maintain the lie by constantly paying them more money to keep the lie going. Because
That's right.
if you turn in an A+ and then you actually do it yourself and it sucks, it's like, what have you learned? Did you forget what you learned? What happened?
Yeah, that's something people don't think about when when you buy a fucking well-written essay. You now have to, like, teachers aren't idiots.
Yeah.
They're gonna notice if you go from being well-spoken and grammatical one week to being a moron again the next week.
I miss the old-fashioned way of cheating on tests in college, where you give your prescription medication to the smart kid in exchange for essays.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep it local.
But speaking of terrible content, though, there's been way more of it here on YouTube ever since Vine shut down back in January of 2017, sending top-tier Vine talent, like the Paul brothers, over to colonize YouTube. And many of these former Viners have done quite well for themselves here, but we gotta imagine they miss only having to do 6-second videos. But even though Vine's parent company Twitter was done with microblogging, one of Vine's original co-founders, Dom Hoffman, revealed back in December that he was hard at work at version 2, a totally independent rebirth of Vine that would be coming out sometime in 2018.
Well, bad news, Vine fans. Dom Hoffman announced on Twitter last week that V2 was being postponed indefinitely. Turns out, for some reason, Hoffman thought that he could resurrect Vine, an app that Twitter couldn't turn a profit on just by using his own personal funds. He says that the positive reaction to the V2 announcement was too positive, and he can't actually afford to run V2 in a way that would actually support the large user base. He also somehow thought that he could self-fund the whole operation while also running another early-stage startup. So now he's taking a step back from the project to seek out financial backers for the new Vine, which again, Twitter shut down because it was impossible to make money on. So maybe don't hold your breath on this one.
Well,
Yes, it failed, but what if we tried it again?
I certainly won't be eagerly awaiting this release. I'm
No.
not gonna lose sleep over this.
No.
But let's loop back to academic dishonesty, though, because remember how First Lady Melania Trump said after the 2016 election that she'd be devoting her time and energy towards tackling online cyberbullying? And remember before that, when she spoke at the Republican National Convention and her speech happened to borrow a whole lot of sections from previous speeches by Michelle Obama? Well, Melania got caught plagiarizing again. The Ukraine is up to something.
She's from Slovenia.
Doesn't matter. She went over to edubirdie.com. She had this whole thing written up. Her new anti-cyberbullying campaign, Be Best, released a pamphlet titled Talking with Kids About Being Online. And it didn't take long for people to notice that it's just a slightly rebranded 2014 pamphlet from the FTC that was originally titled Netcetra, Chatting with Kids About Being Online.
And look, this isn't a big deal or something to be mad about. It's just weird.
Yes.
The changes to the pamphlet are so minor that they're basically the equivalent of copying off Wikipedia and then just changing the phrasing just a little bit. Just enough so nobody notices it, along with some super basic changes to the graphic design that make the pictures of phones look more like iPhone 10s and less like Samsung Galaxy S4s.
Yeah.
But like, the changes are so minor that you hold them up next to each other, they're still fucking identical. The whole thing just sort of feels like Melania Trump's, her team, realized at the last minute, oh shit, we have a deadline to put together a whole presentation on cyberbullying, and it's today. So let's just throw some shit together using existing resources, because that would look better than just coming out and saying, hey, so it turns out the FTC already kind of fixed this all and solved it back in 2014. They made a pretty decent pamphlet, so let's just keep using that.
Honestly, that would have been, I think, a little bit better.
But that was Obama's FTC.
I want to see what Agit Pi has to say about this.
Look at my mug.
I've got all your secrets in here. Be safe. Anyways, it's time for us to do an ad read, because this episode, it's not sponsored by EduBirdie. That's good. It's sponsored by Udemy, the largest marketplace for online learning. Why cheat when you can actually learn? Whether you want to learn something new or just sharpen your skills, Udemy has an extensive library of over 65,000 courses taught by expert instructors.
You ever find yourself thinking, I wish I could do that? Well, with Udemy, you can. From web development to digital marketing to Japanese cooking courses, Udemy has something for everyone. While other online learning companies charge hundreds of dollars per class, a ripoff, Udemy courses start at just $11.99. Plus, each course comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee for risk-free learning.
Every day, students around the world choose Udemy to discover new passions, expand their skills, and even change careers. Improve your life through learning. Download the Udemy app to learn anytime, anywhere, or visit www.ude.my/newsday today. That's www.ude.my/newsday. Help support the show, and thank you, Udemy.
Learn something.
Yeah.
Learn something. Learning's good.
Yes.
Don't just pretend to learn. Learn.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It'll actually help you.
Yeah. Now it's time to pass the talking stick over to our boy Phil Larigo, our weekly bearer of bad news. What sucks this week, Phil?
Thanks, Elliot. You know, summer's right around the corner, and I found that one of the quickest ways to get people to dislike you is to tell them about some security flaw or some popular service that they use is hacked and try to scare them into changing their password. That shit is annoying and is kind of the highest level of well, actually, there can be in tech reporting.
Well, actually,
Exactly.
you should be using a password collection device that spawns protected passwords that aren't the same thing over and over again.
You see, I realize this is what I sound like.
Yes.
Regardless, Twitter made a public statement last week that there was a bug in the way that they were storing passwords, so everyone's passwords are at risk of being seen by hackers. So guess what, guys? Well, actually, change your Twitter password. Twitter says that it has no reason to believe that password information ever left Twitter's system. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad, so what happened here? Let's get this straight from the little bluebird's mouth. We mask passwords through a process called hashing using a function known as bcrypt, which replaces the actual password with a random set of numbers and letters that are stored in Twitter's system. This allows our systems to validate your account credentials without revealing your password. This is an industry standard. Due to a bug, passwords were written to an internal log before completing the hashing process. We found this error ourselves, removed the passwords, and are implementing plans to prevent this bug from happening again. I'd say that I'm not like super stoked that Twitter did this, but leaking everyone's passwords, but I will say they owned up to it quickly and fully, so users on Twitter could change their passwords immediately to prevent further damage, like people jumping back in or ruining their lives. Think of this as the anti-Equifax of leaks right here. We'll get to that down the line once I do some digging, because that problem just got worse. But here I go again, Mr. Nerdman, blah, blah, blah. But for real, Ricky, thank you. If your email address and the password you use with Twitter you use in other places, like if you have a bunch of unimportant shit like I did, and you just use the same thing for everything, you should change those other
My
ones.
password is password, but the A is an at symbol. They'll never get it.
You're
I capitalized the P in password. Come at me, hackers.
You're an at-hole and you drink pee. Because that's how they're gonna get you here if they know one of your passwords. They're gonna try it everywhere. And this happened to me because someone tried to break into my Epic account to play as me in Fortnite. I don't know why. So
Let's get this guy's KD up a little bit.
yeah, it is. It's terrible. So I had to turn on two-factor authentication, honestly, not because I was worried about them taking my account, but because I was sick of getting late night, like 11 p.m. emails from Epic saying like, hey, we locked you out of your account because you're a loser and you tried breaking in Phil's account. So what else happened in the world? Oh, okay. So last year during the Champions League final, South Wales police deployed a pilot program where they scanned people's faces who just wanted to go see some football.
Wait. What football are we talking about here?
We're talking about kicky football, not American football. So the cops had a database of 500,000 persons of interest that they cross-referenced with these live scans of people going to these football matches. How did it work? Let's go to the scoreboard. There were 2,470 potential matches with these people. Of those 2,470, 2,297 were false positives. That is a whopping 92% of facial scans that were not correct. Now that's the kind of percentage that would make your parents happy if it was on your report card, but this is the opposite. So the number that would be on a report card is 8. 8% of those scans were not false positives, or another word would be correct.
Thanks, you, Birdie. That's the last time I ordered facial recognition software from the Ukraine.
The man walks in, he looks like your friend. So South Wales Police did record 450 arrests in the past 9 months due to facial recognition, but at what cost? And Wired talked to Silky Carlo, director of privacy rights group Big Brother, and she said these figures show that not only is real-time facial recognition a threat to civil liberties, but it's a dangerously inaccurate policing tool.
Yeah, they called their group Big Brother?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that won't be misinterpreted ever. You know, like the skateboard company.
No, we're against it. We're
Yeah.
against it. Wow, we should just change our name.
And she's a girl, so a big brother. Anyway, that's fucking my brain's well at the back of my head. So no one who had a false positive was arrested, so I guess that's good. But this is a good barometer as to how ready for primetime MASH facial scans are. So if you have one of those phones that unlocks with facial scanning, you know firsthand that it's not really a perfect science. And even with a device designed for this, 10 inches from your face, sometimes doesn't work. So based on all the false positive numbers, me, Phil, I'm not like an analyst or anything, but I would call this pilot program a giant, sad, colossal failure. South Wales Police, in their account, say it was a resounding success and that the, quote, overall effectiveness of facial recognition has been high. Maybe they were high when they looked at the numbers. I don't know what's it. Anyway, finally, you Bitcoining, bro? You might be, even if you think you're not, because Crypto Jackin's back, baby. Yeah, Crypto Jackin's when you go to a website, right? And they have some code that you don't even know. You're just on like, you know, you're just ordering an essay about, I don't know, Harriet Tubman or the Civil War or something to have some other person write it. And they take your browser, they steal your CPU, and they mine for cryptocurrency. Well, 400 corporate, university, and even government websites have turned the computers that visit them into cryptocurrency miners. A vulnerability in the Drupal content management system lets some rogue JavaScript squeak in there and it steals 80% of users' CPU to mine for crypto. And the person who's getting their CPU stolen doesn't even get any of that cool internet money. So does this situation have a dumb, terrible name? Yes. Drupalgeddon 2. It is literally the sequel to Drupalgeddon, when a 2014 vulnerability let hackers take over servers. This is what happens when you let nerds name things. Anyway, Drupal released a patch back in March, so the big boys like Lenovo.com and the Turkish Revenue Administration, two very real websites who were affected by this, they probably patched their servers because they're big, entities. But I don't know if all of them did. So if your PC or Mac's running slow when you're not looking at porn, check your CPU and see if it's right around the 80% mark, because that means you are probably getting crypto jacked. And that is a talking stick fact. This is awkward. I should have thought this out better. Hey, Elliot.
Gibson guitars.
We're out of business.
Actually, the whole thing with Gibson, I didn't put this in the script, but they basically, a company that's been around almost 100 years, they blew it all by trying to become a technology company, selling smart speakers and other bullshit like that. And now they're declaring bankruptcy so they can sell off all that shit and just go back to making the most popular guitars on earth, because they got greedy. Mm-hmm. Also, speaking of Equifax, didn't put that in here, but here's a greatest hits. Now that's what I call identity theft. Volume, I don't know, 400. Where did I put it? Oh, it's gone. Let me grab it again. 145.5 million people had social security numbers exposed. 99 million people had address information exposed. 27.3 million had gender information exposed. 20.3 million had phone numbers exposed. 17.6 million had driver's license numbers exposed. 1.8 million had email addresses exposed. 209,000 had credit card numbers exposed. 97,500 had tax identification numbers exposed. 27,000 had the state of their driver's license exposed. In addition, Equifax, they had a bunch of people who'd uploaded images of identifying stuff like, 38,000 driver's licenses, 12,000 social security and taxpayer ID cards, 3,200 passports and passport cards, and 3,000 other documents, including military and state IDs and resident alien cards.
Like I said before, when all of our identities are stolen, nobody's identities are stolen.
That's right.
I'm just patiently waiting for the inevitable financial terrorism that's coming to the United States, which bankrupts us all and ruins everyone's lives.
Just like Tyler Durden, we just reset everyone to zero.
If you got student debt now, just pay the minimum for a little while.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll get wiped out. You never know.
Anyway.
Hit the restart button.
Yeah. So yeah, here's another story that's terrible, but in a fun way.
Yeah.
Sort of. Not really.
Oh.
At an event in Denver recently, the head of the FBI's Operational Technology Law Unit told attendees about an FBI operation last year in which agents were dealing with a hostage situation from an elevated vantage point, and the hostage takers deployed several drones out to where the agents were, swooping past them repeatedly with high-speed low passes, effectively blinding the agents.
Not only that, though, the suspects had the drones broadcasting live video to YouTube so that the entire team of hostage takers could monitor the FBI's activity from the convenience of their YouTube app on their phones. Most of the details in the operation, like when and where it took place, and who the suspects and victims were, they weren't revealed. But this is some shit straight out of a Ocean's 11 sequel. Maybe it'll find its way into Ocean's 8.
Yeah. So the website Defense One, they also listed various other ways that criminals are using drones to their advantage, like using them to surveil police departments to see if any snitches are talking to the cops, who they presumably kill after that.
What's that loud buzzing sound?
Yeah, I don't know.
The drone technology is only held back by its annoying sounds.
Very loud.
Yes.
In one example, an Australian smuggling gang used drones to monitor port authority workers and see if they were getting too close to specific shipping containers containing contraband. If it looked like they were going to inspect one, they'd call in a false alarm about a fire or theft to get the port authority away from their shipment. Brilliant. Similarly, the Border Patrol says that Mexican drug cartels are using drones as basically an eye in the sky to see where Border Patrol agents are and then send instructions to their drug mules on which direction to move to avoid detection. At this point, now that the Christmas gift of the year of 2012 is no longer... drones are only used... We only hear about them being used to do illegal shit.
Yeah.
That's all you ever
It's
fucking
no
hear
longer
about.
for enthusiasts.
Yeah.
Unless what you're enthusiastic about is illegal shit.
And the thing is, it's like, if these guys wanted to leave their life of crime, like, production companies are always looking for skillful drone pilots who are gonna be able to carry $100,000 worth of camera gear up in the air and not crash it.
Yeah.
Guys, there's a way out. You don't have to work for the cartels anymore.
Yeah, you can come work for
Come work in
Universal.
Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, let's close out the show with some actual positive tech news. Alan Turing, who's considered the father of modern computing and was played by Benedict Cumberbatch in the movie The Imitation Game, is most known for cracking the Nazis' Enigma code and playing a huge part in winning the Second World War. As a thanks for his contribution to the war effort, Turing was later arrested for being gay and was chemically castrated by the British government as punishment. Sad. That led to his suicide. Sadder.
Thanks, Alan. Chip chip.
But hey, at least the UK apologized about it 55 years later.
Wow.
We're sorry.
Anyway, Alan Turing, he was a fucking genius whose ideas have many applications beyond just computer science, including in chemistry. And now, the ideas from a paper he published in 1952 have been used by a team of Chinese researchers to create a chemical membrane that can purify and desalinate water, which has the potential to provide clean drinking water to the world, the third world, and our third world up in Flint, at a scale that was previously impossible. The actual science behind this is basically gibberish to us, but if you understand chemistry, Ars Technica did a pretty thorough write-up about the whole thing that you should check out, and then come and explain it to us in the comments as if we were a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to science, I am a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Also, even if this works, you gotta convince the government to use it, which not gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's our show. Google I/O, it's happening right now with all the new features from the upcoming Android P going to be
Android
reviewed.
Popsicle.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay. We'll have to wait until next week to cover everything that's coming out of that. And finally, before we go, we have to give a shout out to another sponsor this week, the new podcast series, American Innovations from Wondery. Science and technology have transformed the world that we live in, but how did we get here? On Wondery's new series, American Innovations, you'll hear the stories behind DNA and the mapping of the human genome, the rise of the personal computer, artificial intelligence, and more. It's right up your alley if you watch TechNewsDay.
Learn something. Don't miss a single episode. Search for American Innovations on Apple Podcasts or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. Or go to wondery.fm/newsday. Again, that is WONDERY.com/newsday. Speaking of podcasts, our favorite podcast app, Pocket Casts, got bought by
NPR
and PRI and a consortium of public broadcasters.
Hopefully nothing bad happens. They seem pretty reputable.
Yeah.
Anyways, watch our other episodes. We got a brand new episode of Tugs right over here for you about Thanos invading Fortnite, and then a Monday live show where Shibby lets you know what he thinks about the Thanos man.
Bye.
Bye.